Well, all right. Hello. He said to himself. Pete's not here again, man. Second week, and it's second new release in a row. That's okay. We still love Pete. Actually, Pete's not here, and Pete didn't go see the movie. But it's not Pete's fault. In Pete's defense, he's okay. His family's okay. It wasn't COVID, but he did have like a stomach bug, or he just gave his family food poisoning. I don't know. But something went through Pete's house, and Pete wasn't able to go out and see this week's cinematic adventure. So I'm joined by others. Two others, and two people who have never been on the show before, ever, or listened to the show ever. I'm getting dirty looks. No, it's totally not the case. So we're joined by Brienne Cerez.
Hello.
Hey. And my sister, Brenna.
Hey.
Hey. So you guys are both like, you just like, I didn't even have to ask. You approached me. You're like, I've got the podcast bug. Can I come be on your podcast? And I was like, yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's not how it happened, but okay.
I think you very reluctantly, you felt like a sibling contract. You were like,
this was an obligation I'm fulfilling.
I guess.
I don't actually remember agreeing to this, but here we are.
Yeah. You live here, so you have.
You actually pay the rent for this recording studio. So
Yes,
in a way, you are a shareholder.
I think you're actually his boss.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
You have to sign my paychecks. So we just literally we just got back from seeing Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. I'm not sure about the second half. I know it's not Shang. It's Shang. Shang-Chi, I think.
I think it's like you gotta mesh
chi.
the CH
Shang-Chi.
and the SH together and make a whole new sound.
Because is it kind of like, because it's like Tai Chi.
Right.
And it's not Tai Chi.
No.
So I think it's Shang-Chi. All right.
Should have Googled it
so
first.
And what? We just would have read it. Or had like
the Google pronounce. How do you pronounce?
But there's still like 200 different people who are like, I believe it's this way, and I have a master's in different languages. Okay, so we just got back from seeing it, and we have not discussed it all with each other. We're also in a really echoey room, so if this episode sounds really echoey, it's my sister's fault. We haven't talked about this at all.
No.
I kind of, like, the movie ended, and I looked at both of you, and I was like, not a word. I don't want to know what you thought. I don't want to know nothing. Save all your thoughts. So I don't know how, like, alphabetically, I guess, Brenna, you're first. What?
Barely.
Well, yeah. But that's,
I think alphabetically you're first.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, but if I start talking, neither of you are ever gonna get to. Would you prefer I start? Like I normally we have trivia. Normally Pete would do trivia, but I don't do that. I don't prepare trivia unless it's like a Batman movie or something that I'm like, one of my all-time favorites. But we can just like, do you want me to start? Or
Sure.
Do either of you are like sitting on something you're just itching to share?
Not currently.
Not bursting at the seams, so.
No, okay. So, okay. I'll just start saying things, and if you, chime in when you think, oh yeah, I've got something to say to that. So, interesting movie, because we're post-Infinity War now, or Infinity Saga, we're post-Endgame. And it's the second film from the MCU that's come out that's not a part of the Infinity Saga. So it's the third movie since Endgame, but Spider-Man Far From Home was technically considered like an epilogue to the Infinity Saga. We had Black Widow, And we've had 3 Disney Plus shows, 3.5, because What If is out right now. But I don't think What If really holds any...
No.
It doesn't hold any weight in the MCU moving forward, because they're all just kind of, one-off what ifs. But Black Widow also didn't really, with the exception of a post-credit scene, Black Widow didn't progress the story further at all, because it all happened, again, with the exception of the post-credit scene, it all happened in the past. It all happened right after Civil War. So this is the first, post-Infinity Saga progression film. It's also the first one that is introducing us to new characters, right? It's kind of forming that image of, okay, the next time we need to call together a group that we're going to refer to as the Avengers, what is that lineup going to look like? Who is going to populate that lineup? So I think the movie's really interesting from that standpoint. I have an idea. So, going into this movie, aside from I'd heard a lot of really positive buzz, and it was doing really well at the box office, and it was doing really well in Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that, I was pretty disinterested going into it. Having seen trailers and stuff, I was like, okay. I've never really been a kung fu or karate, a martial arts movie guy. It doesn't interest me. I love seeing Jackie Chan do his thing as much as the next guy, but that was kind of, that's kind of the extent of it. But I would say my expectations going into this movie were pretty low. What about you guys?
It's interesting that you say you're not really into the martial arts stuff as much, because that's actually my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
I love that it was so different from the Marvel movies we've already seen when it comes to, I'll watch the action scenes in Endgame and stuff, but I would much rather watch a choreographed martial arts fight than a fist fight or a firefighter. I find that much more entertaining, and I actually really liked that part of it.
Well, and absolutely, and that was the martial arts and the fighting was one of my favorite parts of the movie too. I'm just saying, going into the movie,
right.
It wasn't I wasn't thinking to myself, finally we have a good martial arts MCU movie coming. It's just not and I think to an extent, I think I'm a little protective of the MCU. I think I'm feeling very similar to the Eternals. The Eternals, which is coming out, we saw a trailer for it at the beginning of this movie. And there's been trailers circulating YouTube for a couple of weeks, months now. It looks really good. But I'm also so skeptical of it because I'm
are they just straying too far?
Well,
and kind of, is that what you mean?
No, I mean, they have to branch out and they have to do new things and they have to grow the universe and they have to do all this stuff. But I think I'm just okay, there's this really super awesome exclusive club called the MCU. And there are these other people who I don't know, I'm not familiar with, I don't know anything really about you, and you're asking to come into my circle of trust. You're asking to be a part of the box set. And I think I think new people in the MCU, new IPs in the MCU, I think I just approach them really skeptically, and I think it makes me kind of nervous.
Yeah. I think it's just something different, something that we haven't seen before, from the one we just watched and the Eternals that's coming. They don't feel like MCU movies. They just, I don't know, they're different. They feel like different universes than what we've seen so far.
So I agree. I don't think going into this movie, from the trailers I'd seen, this didn't feel like the MCU.
No.
Did it feel like the MCU coming out of it, though?
It had moments, but ultimately it felt entirely fresh and different,
Right.
and not in a bad way. It was just, you could have told me it wasn't a part of the MCU, and other than like one or two things, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, like especially just kind of the end scenes that they threw in there where they started to bring in
Right.
MCU characters. Other than that, you'd almost never know
So
that
we
it's an
had-
MCU movie.
We had 1, 2, 3. In the main movie, we had 3 characters who we've seen before. And then in the post-credit scene, which is the first post-credit scene, there's 2 post-credit scenes, and normally there'll be like one post-credit scene that like intrigues you and is like, oh shit. And then there'll be like one that's like just a goofy kind of little, someone's like, oh, I have a really funny idea. Wouldn't it be
Right.
cute if we shot this?
Like, it doesn't really matter, but
Both of these felt like they held some weight, carried some weight. But we'll talk about those. We will talk about those. So the characters that we'd seen before, obviously Wong. Doctor Strange's friend Wong.
Okay, is that who that was? Because
Yes.
I knew I recognized him.
Yeah.
And I recognized his like red magic stuff.
Yeah. So he's one of he's a sorcerer. He's one of the,
Right.
So which is why, he does like the portal. He's got the ring. He's got the rings on, right? Like that allow. Okay, not the rings because that's confusing.
Not those rings.
In this movie, not those rings.
Not
But
the
he's got
10 rings.
that like. They almost look like it's like a 2-finger ring or 3-finger ring. It almost looks like straight brass knuckles.
Right.
And it's what he uses to like, do his magic. So we saw him. We saw when we first arrive at the Sisters Fight Club, we see Wong fighting Abomination, who was the
is that who that
villain
was?
from the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie. So the guy that was played a General Thunderbolt Ross's like special forces guy that injects himself with the like Hulk serum stuff and then turns into his vertebrae start coming out of his back and stuff, and he turns into.
Right.
So we haven't seen. He didn't die. He got arrested at the end of that movie, and we haven't seen
I do not remember
him.
that movie.
We haven't seen him in a really long time. We haven't seen him since like 2008, 2009. But the assumption has been that he's likely on the raft, which is that out in the middle of the ocean, come up from the ocean prison that a lot of our heroes got locked up in at the end of Civil War. So it's kind of like
Right,
Supermax, but for criminal supervillains and people with powers, people who need more than just solitary confinement. They need to be,
Under the ocean.
locked. They need to be locked up under the ocean. The final person we saw, which was a total surprise. So I don't know if we knew Wong was in it. There was probably some reports of that. Abomination showed up in the trailer, so we all knew we were getting the return of Abomination. But Sir Ben Kingsley playing Trevor Slattery, which, Brienne, you looked at me and you're like, who is this? And
I was kind of lost there
and
too.
okay.
Very lost.
And you both asked me, Brienne asked me to explain it after. She's like, later, can you make sense of this to me?
Yeah.
And so, yes, I can.
Because I felt like I was supposed to know who he was, and I think I was, like, thinking too hard about it, because I was just like,
Right.
I don't know this person.
So, and he's referenced before we actually see him in this movie. So there's a moment where the evil daddy, supreme guy, Papa, Captain Ten Rings, is he's got, he's called a family reunion of the dysfunctional family. Everyone's sitting there around the dinner table, and he's talking about he's talking to Katie, and he asks her her name, and then he goes on this whole like little monologue about the importance of names and all this stuff, and he talks about how he's been referred to as a bunch of over the 1,000 years he's been referred to by a bunch of names. And he talks about how years ago there was an American terrorist organization that appointed sort of like a figurehead and tried to pass that figurehead off as him and gave him the name the Mandarin.
Okay.
And he's like, they named him after a like chicken dish or something,
Right.
It makes a joke about it. That's this guy. So if you remember Iron Man 3, there is this Ben Kingsley is in it as this guy, the Mandarin. And there's like these there's these terrorist videos, they like hijack, the president's broadcasts and stuff. And it's like, you'll never see me coming. And he's like this like really creepy, menacing terrorist guy. He's supposedly the guy that blows up Tony Stark's house and does all this stuff.
Okay.
And then Tony raids the house that the Mandarin is, that they've tracked the broadcasting symbols back to. And the Mandarin is actually this British actor named Trevor Slattery, who's like in bed with these like two women, and he's like, oh, bloody hell, and he's like cracking open a beer, and it's like this whole, and Tony's like, what, you're a joke? Or like, is this some sort of a joke? You're a decoy? And he's like, a decoy? No, I'm an actor. And he's like, he's doing all this stuff, and he's like, I was in a really bad, he's like, well, how did you fall in with these people? And Trevor's like, I was in a really bad place, and I'd made a bunch of decisions that no man should ever make. There's no two ways about it. And the drugs, and I was on a lot of drugs, and then they approached me, and Tony's like, and they promised they'd get you off of them. He says, no, they said they'd give me more. And like, so that's this guy. And
Okay.
so
Right,
he gets
because
locked
when
up.
he comes in, he does explain, I
Yeah.
thought I was playing a terrorist.
Yeah. And so they recapped that just for anyone who I guess hasn't seen Iron Man 3. And then there was also, which I noticed they just recently added this to Disney Plus. Now it makes sense why. So Marvel for a long time was doing what's called one-shots. And so you would go see your Marvel movie, and then when it would come out on Blu-ray or DVD, there would be, in the special features, there might be a one-shot. And a one-shot was like a 5 or 10 minute Marvel short. And there was a Marvel short called, I don't know what it's called, but it focused around him once he'd gotten to jail. Right, so we realize that he's not actually the mastermind behind it. Aldrich Killian is the guy who's like the Extremis program, and he's like breathing fire, and he like F's up Pepper Potts, and Tony has to like, undo it because now Pepper's got this like arm regenerative ability that everyone else has. And so anyways, so it's this one shot that focuses around Trevor in prison. And the actual thugs of the actual Mandarin who happen to be in prison say he wants, he's not happy with you, or like he's coming for you, or something like that. And so this movie is the payoff from that. So Daddy Dearest is the actual Mandarin, and had captured him and had every intent to decapitate him or disembowel him or whatever he was going to do until he started doing his Macbeth and it became
Their jester, yeah.
So I think it was such a surprise to see him, because not only I certainly didn't know, he hasn't been in any trailers that I've seen, so they kept him a total surprise. But he wasn't a cameo. Like, when they walked in and he's, like, there, and I'm like, oh, this is, like, a really crazy, fun little cameo. This is cute. This will be, like, a highlight of the movie. And then he's in the car with them. And then, because he's the only one that can interpret what Maurice is saying.
Yeah, right.
And then he's in the battle. And then he's like, so I didn't expect to see him, and I definitely didn't expect him to be, like, a key supporting character throughout this whole film. So that was such a pleasant surprise and really did help tie things back. He name drops with Iron Man.
Yes.
Right? He says an Iron Man came in and blew it all up and like does all this stuff. And so that was cool. So I get what you're saying. It is definitely different. It's a genre of film that we have not seen in the MCU before, sort of this like Chinese fantasy film, which is something the MCU is really good at doing. Like the MCU is chock full of different genre films, right? Ant-Man is a heist film. It's like a good old-fashioned heist film. Mm-hmm. But it's bubble wrapped in this wrapping of the MCU, right? And so this is just like, this is no different than any of your, like, most of which we probably haven't seen because they're all like foreign Chinese films. But it's no different than those. It just has the MCU umbrella over it. So yeah, felt much different, but was tied back in some really big ways.
Yeah, I feel like we just missed some of those references.
Yeah, they went over my head.
And that's fine.
Sure.
I'm sitting there geeking out.
You're still you're talking to it about it, and you just explained it, and I'm still like, I don't remember this.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
With the actor, I was like, I get that this is funny, but I'm not sure I actually know why.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Okay. So I'm just gonna out and say it then. This movie, at least for me, having gone into it with low expectations, having gone into it thinking, yeah, it's part of the MCU, so obviously I'm going to see it. It's going to matter moving forward. He's probably going to be a part of the next Avengers film when we get Avengers 5. But I don't know. There's other movies. I'm far more excited for other movies. I loved this movie.
It did definitely exceed my expectations.
It was so good. Mm-hmm. It's funny. It has heart. It has great action. It has amazing visuals, especially at the end. Like there was a moment where, there's like CGI and special effects vomiting all throughout this film. But the one moment that I thought to myself, I don't know when the last time I saw something on the big screen this stunningly beautiful is when he's fighting with his dad and each one of them has 5 of the rings. Mm-hmm. And so dad's got these blue electricity kind of rings happening and Shang's got these orangey kind of, and there's just the colors and the fighting and you're like, this is breathtaking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so much fun. What's your favorite part of the movie, Brienne?
I really enjoyed the fighting. Like you said, it was probably one of the things that I wasn't looking forward to the most. Like, it just didn't pique my interest. But there's something so, it's choreographed and it almost seems like a dance.
It's like a dance.
And there's just something so intriguing about it. And just I don't know, you just can't help but watch and be engaged in the fighting. And it doesn't feel like they're fighting.
No.
In some of it. It just, yeah.
They're moving together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those things. I was watching it. I was like, man, I wish I knew martial arts. This is so cool.
So normal martial arts definitely has that, this is almost like a dance feeling.
Yeah, they're interpreting each other's moves.
But particularly the fighting style of the Mother's Village. And yes. The fighting style that is effective, the skills in fighting that you need to know in order to go fist to fist with the guy who's yielding the rings. Yeah. Because there was moments where they're not even fighting him. It's they're simply moving along with him and gliding his hands, just redirecting his own energy, not even using his energy against him, just it was like a very defensive fighting style versus an aggressive fighting style.
I noticed that when he started training with his aunt, he was going at it with this high, almost aggressive energy, and the second she just pauses and opens his hands, he switches from he just has this calm about him,
Yeah.
and his fighting style starts changing, and he becomes better at it. Like the style, he starts adapting and like getting like the village's style like of fighting.
And it's powerful because it's like, you know, she's basically, he's like, he's been taught
Yes.
an aggressive, killing, closed fist,
Yes.
make a fist and punch the person in the face fighting stance. And I think there's so much, it's such a beautiful moment when she just opens his hand and she's like, you know, it's like, no, we're not throwing punches.
I did really like that scene. It was like there was like a piece that washed over him almost.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was like letting go of what his father had trained him, like all that. Yeah. That style. And
I found their style of fighting didn't even look like fighting. Like he is throwing punches and he's out of breath, and then it would show her and she's like calm and she's smiling and she's like not even
just,
actually
like, floating
expending any energy.
And it was so like it was there was something really, man, and maybe this is just Chinese culture, and as like, you know, people of fairly like lineage wise fairly recent European descent, we're just like super uncultured in this sense, but like there was something so graceful about initially watching this, not elderly but senior to him woman hand his ass to him, like completely kick his ass. And it was just like there was such a message in there that it's like strength means nothing, right? It is a calmness, it is a serenity, it is whatever, and your strength holds little value here. And so that was really cool too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, obviously I don't know much about like what the mental is behind like martial arts and stuff like that, but I feel like it has more to do with like control rather than strength and power, you know?
Yeah. That's so cool. Another really cool moment, and it's kind of like a blink and you miss it moment, but I was like, whoa. Like I kind of wanted to, I sounded like Keanu Reeves there. Whoa. Like I kind of wanted to like really just like stop and pause and dwell on it for a second. But it's because Katie kind of has her own, like in a lot of ways, Katie saves everything. If not for Katie and her archery skills, we would have been screwed here. But there's this amazing moment where this old guy who she kind of like forms a bit of a bond with, says to her, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit nothing. And that was so, it
wise.
was such a deep,
so wise.
And then all of a sudden I'm like comparing it to my own life. And I'm like, you know,
it meant more than archery. He wasn't just talking about arrows.
If you aim at something, you might not hit it. But if you don't aim at it, you're definitely not going to hit it. Mm-hmm. And so, like, don't just sit there and wait to hit it. Like, you know.
I definitely thought Katie was a really good supporting character, though.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great that they gave her that, like, little heroic end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think she was one of my favorite characters.
She was well cast, too, yeah.
Aquafina. Which I still don't understand.
No.
If you're
It's
choosing...
gotta be a joke.
Well, if you're like, I need a stage name. And she's like, looks down to that. She's like drinking water. And she's like, looks down at her water. And she's like, I bet you if I change the spelling of this. But cool. Fun soundtrack. Appropriate soundtrack. It's like a very like, you know, Asian, Chinese soundtrack. No?
Sure.
Nobody
Can't
noticed?
say I paid too much attention to the soundtrack.
In movies, it's just background noise. Like,
What?
I don't always...
That's not
like,
true for every movie.
No,
Titanic?
definitely not. There's definitely movies that I'll notice a certain sound.
Every
like
Tim
song,
Burton movie?
But if it's just instrumental in the background, I'm not always really...
But if it's
picking it up.
iconic, like...
Of course.
Like, you know, Terminator, where it's like...
Star Wars. You notice the music.
Star Wars, you definitely notice the music. Ghostbusters, right?
Harry Potter.
If it's like that, and you're like, yeah, Harry Potter. Cool. Okay. Post-credit scenes. So the first post-credit scene we get is, so the end of the movie, Wong shows up. He's like, Shang and Katie are sitting in the bar with their two loser friends, and they're like, and then we save the world. And as I'm hearing this, I'm like, this is comedic and fun, but maybe this is like, I get that you're independent agents, like you don't work for the government, so none of this is technically covert, but maybe you just, like, you're on the precipice of being a superhero.
Yeah. And I mean,
you haven't decided
obviously,
whether or not you're going to wear a mask yet.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have a secret identity,
but,
which no one in the MCU really does, with the exception of, previously, of Spider-Man.
Right.
But he's
Iron Man?
But he's now been outed. No, everyone...
He outed himself.
Like, the end of the
I guess the very
movie.
first movie he outed himself.
Right? That's the whole thing. He says, I am Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
He was out.
So Thor is just Thor.
Thor.
Everyone knows that Steve Rogers is Captain America.
Right.
I guess for obvious reasons, it's not even like Black Widow has a secret identity. People just don't know that Natasha Romanoff exists. And that's, like, she's a very, like, doesn't exist kind of person. Hawkeye, Clint Bart, again, he's like, I assume the agency is, like, protecting his identity
but
pretty
I feel
well.
like, I mean, they are key characters and they're key members in the team, but I feel like as far as the public goes, I feel like they're small names.
Yeah, but like, Spider-Man is the big, like,
I mean, Black Widow and Hawkeye. Like, I feel like
they're not the main heroes.
I guess an exception would be Black Panther. So the world didn't know that T'Chaka and then T'Challa, after T'Chaka's killed in that bombing, they didn't know that the kings of Wakanda were this, or even really know that Wakanda is just shrouded in all kinds of mystery all over the place. But so anyways, I just felt like, maybe sit on this for a minute. Like, why are you sharing all this right now?
They probably thought, like, sharing it would do no harm because they're like, they're not going to believe us anyway. But I feel like you said, they're on the start of something that is like, well, they may not believe you now, but wait till the next thing happens.
Maybe just tell your therapist for now. Like,
So anyways, he calls them through. He's like, come, you have to come with me. And so they go. And so then the post-credit scene is kind of like the follow-up to that, where they're standing there with Wong, and they're trying to unravel, discover, make sense of the rings.
Yeah.
And we see Bruce Banner, and we see Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And big for two reasons. One, it's just fun to see Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. It's fun to see Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, but the last we left Bruce Banner, he had fused himself with the Hulk. He was Professor Hulk. There was no Bruce Banner.
Right.
So this is, looking at this, you're like, oh, what happened? What has happened?
I didn't pick up on that, but I did notice that his arm was in a sling.
Yes,
and I was like, I was like, where did we leave him off? What happened? Like, is that do we remember, like, is that something we've seen? But
and I don't think it is, because it's been months and months and months since the last we saw him was Endgame.
Right.
And it's been a while since Endgame.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, it could be like ramifications from whatever's pulled him out of being Professor Hulk, or, the day before they were supposed to come shoot this, Mark Ruffalo broke his arm, and like that
could be unrelated.
That happens all the time, and they're like, oh, okay, I guess
we'll just throw this in.
Your character's in a sling, I guess. It's such a fun post-credit scene though, because like it seems minor. It seems like, of course we're trying to figure out what these are, and And Wong says, because Wong, they keep their codexes, like the sorcerers have kept they've kind of like archived all of existence and our understanding of, like, pretty limited with the multiverse, as we see in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. You know, Doctor Strange says the multiverse is a concept that we know embarrassing or scary little about, frighteningly little about. Right. So I don't think they know a lot about that, but they do, like, they're kind of the keepers of Earth. They kind of keep the Earth safe from any of the supernatural stuff. And, you know, so anyways, he says these rings we don't have anything like these rings in our codexes, so we don't know where these rings came from. In the opening of the movie, there's like they're telling the story, and they're a little bit ambiguous about the origin of the rings. They say some believe that the rings were pulled out of a tomb or taken off the body of whatever, or, you know, we don't really know. There's a lot of disagreement on where the rings would have come from. And so, yeah, Wong's like, we don't know. And the Dr. Banner is like, this has nothing to do with the Chitauri, which is the alien race that attack New York in the first Avengers. Okay. Right? It has nothing to do with the Chitauri. Because Bruce is always, from that to the Scepter to, like, they've always kind of been studying this alien race.
Like the alien technology and stuff.
Yeah. And Brie Larson, or Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, who is, you know, obviously very intercosmic whatever, right? She's the protector of many worlds, is like, I got nothing. And I think this was so exciting because, you know, when the MCU started out, we were all unaware of its potential. We didn't know what it was going to turn into. We didn't know what the MCU could be, right? There were just movies coming. We would get like standalone Avengers movie. Standalone Avengers movie. And then we had Infinity War and Endgame, which was like this major culmination. It was like, wow, this MCU has really turned into something. And that's over. And they've kind of wiped the table clean, and they're starting again. And this really felt like, that post-credit scene really felt like the beginning of my imagination getting to wonder and explore, what is the next threat going to be? Where are we going to end up? So, we're no longer worried about the Infinity Stones. We spent 23 movies finding, explaining, setting up, and causing mayhem with these Infinity Stones. Are these rings the beginning of... Because it says the rings are like sending a message to someone. They're communicating with someone. And I think a common theory is that it's Galactus, the eater of worlds, a guy who literally eats worlds for, like, that's what he does. So he's big and he's bad and he makes Thanos look like a joke. But yeah, it's just so exciting. And will it take another 23 films?
So are you expecting a saga?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll be another And will it take another 23 films and 10 years? Who knows? 11 years? Who knows? Yeah. I kind of hope. Like, I'm on board for another. I'm on board for to another be like, this is the 48th MCU film, and holy crap, and it's done $5 billion at the box office because yeah. But it's just it's exciting because it's like, now we know the potential. Now we know what the MCU can be, and how big it can be, and how awesome it can be. And now we just get to have that excitement and see where they take us.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to nitpick, but I am going to go back and I want to know why, if Papa has been wearing these rings and causing destruction with them for over 1,000 years, and they've supposedly existed for even longer, how have, you know, the Avengers or whoever has been around just found out about them. They haven't investigated them before now. They haven't.
Because I think he's always been pretty small.
He was on the DL.
Well, I think he's always been pretty small. Like, he's, like, effed up some gangs, and he's, like...
Yeah.
Gained power and stuff. But I think he's kind of... Like, I think he's a smart guy. Right? So, first of all, he's a smart guy. Right? Second of all, so I think he knows... You know, like if people don't know, the 10 Rings is kind of a quiet, hush-hush thing. But also, for the last, like, most of his dickheadery happened before Shang and his sister were born. And and then he gave up the rings.
Right.
For a while. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, he gave up the rings when he met his wife. So, and what would you say? Shang and his sister are in their 20s? Late 20s?
Yeah, they must be, because
Mid-20s?
I think he was 14. Yeah, he would be about 24, because...
Yeah, it's been about 10 years. So
he
they're
left
like
when he was 14.
Mid-20s, which means... And let's say the two were together for 3 or 4 years before that, before they had children. Mm-hmm. So for the last 30 years, he hasn't really been up to his shenanigans.
Yeah, well, he would have given them up for 10 years, approximately. Like, if we're going off the approximate 3 years before he was born, because he put them back on when... He was about 7 when their mom died.
He put them back on, but I don't think he was... How old they said he was. He put them back on, but I don't think he was doing the same crap that he was doing before. Yeah. I don't think he was like...
Well, he went out and killed that...
Yeah, he like took out the... But again, that's like a small... You know, this is a small blip. And on the other side of the world, over in China.
Yeah. That's probably what it is he's been using them in China until now. We haven't seen MCU take place in China at all.
And maybe this whole time he's been on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s radar for years. That wouldn't surprise me.
They kind of keep things quiet.
Nick Fury knows all about him. But he just hasn't posed a global threat. There hasn't, it hasn't been like we really need to get Tony over there and take this guy out.
You'd think they would want the rings, though.
Yeah,
if they knew about
if anything,
them.
They're like, oh, this guy's small peanuts, but hey, we want
Look
his
at those
rings.
fancy...
or was, had never been in a position where they were like, we can take him on. We can take
That's
those
true.
rings.
Maybe they just couldn't if they wanted to.
Yeah, it's better not... There's this force that if we provoke, we'll likely lose. And if we don't provoke, he's doing... minimal damage. So let's not provoke him until we're ready to.
Yeah, I found that part of the rings to be quite fascinating, just because, like, from the trailer, I don't remember, like, them showing much about the rings and what they could do.
No, there's just a bunch of, like, flashy scenes with fun action shots.
Yeah, so I went into this movie being completely oblivious to, like, what the rings were and what they did. So it was really fascinating to, like, finally get to see what they are. And, like, I feel like there's still so many things we just don't know about them and what they can do.
Yeah.
So,
and then
interesting to see.
Sister Dearest is taking over... No, not that Sister Dearest. Shang's sister.
Oh.
Is taking...
I am Sister Dearest, but...
instead of dismantling the 10 Rings... is retrofitting the 10 Rings.
She's making it her new operation.
I was much more excited by that post-scene credit than the first one.
Because you're like, okay, all right, girl
like,
power.
I found the first post-scene credit, you were like, okay, yeah, it makes sense that they're showing this, but it didn't really, like, get me excited for anything.
Right.
Whereas the second one, I was like, okay, we got some females in here. We got, like...
I'm definitely looking forward to, like, now, having seen this... If they announce tomorrow Shang-Chi 2, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited. Let's see where this is
Yeah.
going to go. And I'm also super excited to see this guy play alongside Doctor Strange or any of, like, I'm excited to see him
Mesh
on
with the group.
on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got like a different, I guess, like energy about him. Like
Yeah.
you were saying, like warmth and heart and stuff. And I think like his friendship with Katie brings a lot of that in. Like
Yeah.
we just get to see that. And I feel like we haven't seen, like there's always been some great friendships over the MCU movies, but this one just
Yeah.
has a lot more heart, I feel like.
I feel like the MCU, since Endgame, you know, the MCU started out as a pretty self-contained thing. So it was Earth, there was a little bit of celestial stuff with Thor, and then we got a little more, you know, the world as we know it got a little bit bigger when the Guardians were brought in, and we're like, okay, so space, and there is all these planets out there and life and all this stuff. And since then, with the series that we have, so you, Brenna, you've just recently watched, you've gotten caught up since Endgame
Yes.
with the shows. And so now that we're clearly moving forward, part of the MCU, a big focus of the MCU is the multiverse. But I feel like between the multiverse and, you know, like different, you know, it was like a different universe almost that they were going to get to this village.
They called it a different dimension.
Different dimension.
Yeah.
And like, so these mythical beings that we don't know about and dragons exist now. And so that's all crazy. And then like souls, the like soul sucking and
suckers.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
that's all been, you know, made canon. And then even watching the trailer for the Eternals and knowing, okay, there's this group called the Eternals who have been here watching for thousands and thousands of years. And the only and they're here as like the protectors of everything. And the only reason they haven't interfered is because they've been told not to. And like, but now something's going to happen, the convergence, whatever that is.
You're like, what is
that
this
is
bigger
going-
picture?
that is going
Like,
to require them to. And I just feel like the MCU is getting like, whereas before it was like, it was this thing that was like, you know, got a little bit bigger and got a little bit bigger. And every so
Yeah.
often we would introduce something that would like stretch out the bag that was the MCU.
Yeah.
Now I feel like that bag has ripped open or
everything's
is ripping
possible
open.
now.
Yeah.
And things are getting nuts, and
Yeah.
it's really exciting. But I think it's good that like had you done it prior to now, it would have been too soon. It would have been too much. You had to establish all this stuff before we were ready for okay, now run with our imagination.
Right. Because first we got aliens, and now we have dragons, and who
And-
knows what
and
else, mythical creatures.
All these other
Yeah.
you know gods. We got gods before. We started.
Right.
Gods were the first thing we got.
Right.
You know, but they weren't even gods.
Thor, right?
Thor,
Yeah.
but it was Thor and Loki and Odin and all this stuff. But it wasn't even, they weren't even gods. God is not a term they've given themselves, right? God they talk about is what Earthlings called us to, like they idolized us because we had more abilities and more powers, and we didn't have the mortality that they had in a lot of ways, and so then they like, you know, made legends about us and turned us into these idols and stuff. So before we rank this film, do either of you have anything else that you know you thought during the movie you're like, oh shit, I really got to bring that up when we sit down and talk?
Those large, tusked lion creatures.
You want one.
I want one so bad. And and the little thing with no face.
And
Yeah.
Maurice.
Yes.
Maurice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
I
pretty
hope
great.
I hope we see more. This is so silly, but I really do, and I never thought that I needed this until this movie. I really hope we see more of Trevor Slattery, because just like, you know, when he's like he's
Make
like
him a staple.
lying dead on the battlefield, and Maurice is like worried about him. He's like, calm down, Maurice. It's a performance.
Yeah.
I'm just acting. Yeah.
I feel like I need to rewatch Iron Man 3.
We're gonna rewatch all of them. We gotta get all up to snuff.
That's quite the commitment.
Yeah, I did it this summer.
Have fun.
I did it this summer.
Right.
Yeah, it's not honestly like
No,
if you were to do, and I get though, it won't be one a night,
Right.
but
Even if you did like one a week.
if you do, if you do, if you do, let's say you do 3 a week.
Right.
You're like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
2.5 months and you're done. You're
No,
caught up.
I want to because there are some that I'm more familiar with, and then there's some that I've probably only seen once.
Right.
And would have been like maybe when they first came out. So I'm just very unfamiliar with them.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah. So. All right. Do you have anything, Brenna?
Nope.
No. Okay, Brianne.
No.
Scale of 0 to 10.
Oh, jeez.
How would you rank Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings?
That is a good question. I don't know.
Thank you. I've asked it
I don't know.
like 150 times
Like-
before.
I don't know. I'm so bad at like rating things because I'm like, well, could it have been better?
Okay,
Probably,
well,
but
so Pete has
yes,
a ranking system.
A ranking system that makes no sense.
No sense. It's kind of stupid, and he knows it. I don't feel like I'm, stepping on his toes by saying that. He knows I
Right.
think it's dumb, but dumb in a very like I would miss it if it disappeared kind of way.
Okay.
But basically, like, and I'm gonna butcher this, but like 0 to 3 or 4, you would if you were at the cottage and there was a VHS
Right.
of it and it's raining.
If it's the only thing there,
Then
then
maybe 4 to like 6, or like something. I don't know. The next step, next couple of numbers, you'd like maybe you'd rent it. You'd rent it, but you don't feel the need to buy it, right? The next one is, you know what? You need a copy of it on your shelf because you want to be able to complete your collection, and there's going to be times where you're like, you know what? We should watch Shang-Chi, and you want it readily available to you. And then I think like 7.5 and up is like I would get a babysitter. I would go pay again to see it in the movie theater because this is an excellent film and I loved it.
I wouldn't buy it, but that's just me. That's not a critique against the movie.
Right. That's you don't buy movies.
I don't buy movies.
I buy all the movies to populate the shelf.
Exactly. I would say it ranks probably above like an 8.
You can't do
8.5.
Just disregarded the rating scale altogether.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's like above
Well,
an 8.
I'm not gonna go by
Could be a 10.
Pete's rating scale because
shouldn't.
it's fine if it works for him.
But it does
But
not
there's
work
so
for
many
me.
boxes where I'm like, okay, I wouldn't buy it, but that doesn't mean I want to rank it as a 5.
Right.
I wouldn't go see it in the movie theater, but that's just my
Because you don't want to
personal.
spend money on it again.
Well, and that's just my own thing against movie theaters.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, you don't like the movie
I
theater?
don't.
I'm
It's not
probably
my
seeing
favorite
it.
way to watch a movie.
So I'm probably seeing it again this weekend
Right.
in the theater. So
Right.
I'm excited, and I'm,
Well, you like the movie theater,
yeah.
so
The movies
like-
are
that
where
makes
it's at.
that
I
makes sense.
Which I want to. I will touch on this again, and we'll touch on something in a minute about the
Okay.
theater experience we had tonight. But
Okay.
so you're saying 8.5?
I think 8.5. I mean, I could go higher, but I'll leave room for like I'm quite excited to see the characters again and see the progression of their story. So, and I quite enjoyed it. So,
Higher off the ground.
I don't know. I'm gonna
Okay.
go with that.
Brenna,
Okay.
in half the time or less.
Okay, I'll make it simple.
Scale of 0 to 10.
I'm also going to give it an 8.5. I would buy it,
Yeah.
just for the sake of having it.
Yeah.
But I can't say anytime in the near future I'll be hanging around in the evening going, what should I watch?
Right.
And put it on.
Right.
But there was also no point in the movie where something was done a certain way or a line was said where I was like, nah, I didn't really like that.
Yeah, right.
I liked everything that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So,
It was constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so question: Does completionistism does that run in the family? So for me, so
Explain yourself.
for me, and this is just evidence that you don't listen to my podcast. But for me, so I'm
She's outed herself.
you used to. You support me on Patreon.
I know, but it was so much longer than I expected the first time I watched it or listened to it.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah, you're
I
like-
fell behind, and now there's
As
You'll
my
never
sister,
catch up.
you're like, oh, he's gonna do this thing. It'll last 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll listen to it. So for me, I'm a total completionist.
Okay.
Which means so Pete and I went to go. There's a new one of these days because it's been pushed off like a year and a half at this point. It just got pushed off again. But there's a new 007 film coming out, and Pete really liked the 007 films, and so he's like, "Well, we got to do this movie," and I was like, "Well, I haven't really seen any of them." And so he's like, okay, well, just watch the new Daniel Craig ones. And I'm like, excuse me, no. How many are there? And he said, well, there's like 22, 23 of them. And I said, well, buckle up, because the only way I'm doing this is if I watch all of them. The reason I could never get into Doctor Who now is because I would have to go back to like the 60s or something when it started. When I first started playing Assassin's Creed, there was like they were on like the 4th game, but it didn't matter. I went on eBay and I started tracking down all of the Assassin's Creed games, and I started from the beginning. So I can't jump into something halfway through, and I also can't stand incomplete collections. So for you, you're saying like just to have it. Would you if you had some MCU movies sitting on your shelf, would it ultimately burn a hole in your brain knowing that, I don't have the MCU on my shelf?
Not even a little.
Not even. Okay, so that's
I'm
totally
that way
me.
with books.
Okay.
But I'm not nearly as passionate about you're very passionate about movies. I'm
Yeah.
passionate about 3 movies in the world.
Walk the line.
Walk the Line.
Wait, can I guess?
Yep.
Should this be obvious to me?
I don't know.
So Walk the Line. Sound of
Another one that-
Music?
No.
No, not
But
Titanic.
No.
No.
Think
Those
another
are your
Joaquin
movies.
Phoenix movie.
Joker?
No.
Gladiator?
No. Can I just tell you?
No.
Okay.
Another Joaquin Phoenix movie. What the hell?
I don't
else
think
is
you're gonna guess
Joaquin
it.
Phoenix in.
It's pretty obscure.
Joaquin Phoenix is in. Ladder 49.
Ladder 49 holds a dear spot in my heart.
It's you
I
know
will watch
what?
that movie every single day if I could.
It's honestly so good.
So I cry every single time.
I cry every day whether or not I watch Ladder 49. And what's the third one?
The Breakfast Club.
Breakfast. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we would have been here all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I see, and I can't read, so movies is all I have.
well.
Yeah. So the subtitled parts in this movie, that was rough.
I'm going to
Yeah.
reach out to Mrs. Smith and have a conversation with her.
I don't think they teach you to read in kindergarten. I think that's like a grade 1.
Okay, Ms. Lyons.
My jolly phonics. I'm amazed that I don't know who you had for grade 1.
We had all the same teachers.
You had Mrs. Lyons?
I had, yes.
So,
And
okay.
then Mrs. Black, and then...
See, I never had Mrs.
Oh,
Black. No,
well,
we
that's lucky for you.
everyone in the school was like, "Ooh, that kid's got Mrs. Black. That kid is never gonna be the same." Okay, cool. So you also gave it an 8.5.
8.5.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it a 9.2.
That's
Because
specific.
I echo your sentiment in that there was nothing in this movie that I would have changed or done differently.
Mm-hmm.
There was maybe some stuff that I would have liked to see. There was like, there was just like, I would have taken a little more X, and I can't even place my finger on it. So and I also don't like to give 10s because every time I give a 10, and I've given a couple of 10s, Pete is way more trigger happy with the 10s than I am, and it always makes me feel, every time he does it, I feel like it it takes away his credibility as a movie
feel like-
ranking. You're like, ooh,
Yeah.
10.
If
And
you
it's
give
like,
it a 10, it's like you're saying, okay, this is my new favorite movie.
And some movies, and I've given movies 10s. And I've
Right.
given Black Mirror episodes 10s. Because I've watched Black Mirror episodes. I think I gave the playtest, the one you haven't seen yet, Brienne. The one with Wyatt Russell in it. I gave that a 10 because I was like, there's nothing about this I would have changed. This was amazing. And so there's nothing that that was in... There's nothing... I can't think of anything in Shang-Chi that I would have taken out that I didn't want there. But if I thought about it hard enough, I could probably come up with a couple of things that I would have liked more of, or would have liked to... Like Abomination. Like, Abomination is in the trailer, and basically everything that you see in the movie is basically in the trailer.
He's just a cameo.
He's
So
not,
you
he
would have
doesn't-
liked more of him?
He doesn't even talk. He doesn't.
Yeah.
We've waited this long. Now, I think he is going to show up in the She-Hulk series, Disney Plus series that we're going to get.
That
I
makes
hope.
sense.
I hope. But we'll see. So I gave it a 9.2. Speaking of theater experiences, I just want to touch on this really quick because the last movie that we went to go see together, Brienne, we saw with Tina, who was my co-host for the Suicide Squad episode. And we saw it in Dolby Atmos sound
Right.
and Ultra AVX projection. The movie we saw tonight, so at the theaters that we saw this at, this movie was available in Dolby Atmos and Ultra AVX, but only also in a 3D option. And I didn't even think that was still a thing. I'm so over 3D. I had no interest. Actually, and you know what? I thought about it, and when I saw that it was in 3D, there was a moment where I was like, I haven't seen a movie in 3D since like 2017.
I think
Yeah,
the last
maybe
3D
it's-
movie I saw was Avatar.
And so I had a little bit of
The first time?
yeah, so I had a little there was a moment where I was like, I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Maybe
it's been
it's gotten
like
better.
5 years since I've gone
Yeah.
and seen a movie. So maybe a movie that I care about less when we go see, maybe when we go see Venom 2, if it's an option to see in 3D, maybe we'll give it a try. I mean, I do care about Venom 2, but
yeah. I do think, though, this movie, if 3D is in fact better,
there were some 3D moments.
this movie would have been fantastic in
With the
3D.
rings.
Then-
Or the
and
water.
and-
like when the
yeah.
water like floats around them.
Or there was a couple of shots where when the sister has that knife on
Yes.
a rope, I'm like, this was shot to be
Yes.
seen in 3D.
So maybe the next time you see it.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, I want to say
Right.
there were moments in like even right when the movie started compared to the Dolby Atmos and Ultra AVX. Brenna, you've seen both. You've seen a Dolby Atmos with like there's like 80 speakers in the theater and the place just shakes and rumbles, and
Yeah.
the Ultra AVX, which is like the extra bright projection and whatever. Right from the start of this movie, when the when the like Marvel thing logo was happening and the Marvel music started to play, I instantly thought to myself, this movie's not loud enough. and I adjusted to it, but it wasn't until about halfway through the movie. And there were several moments in this movie. There was never a moment where it was hard to hear, but there'd be action shots with like fist fighting and sword blades cutting through buses and stuff. And I was just like, there are sound effects and things that are happening that I feel like are supposed to have like big sound impacts, and they're not. It feels really weak and just not there. Did anyone else? Is that just me?
I didn't pick up on that while watching it. Like I wasn't watching it and having the same realization as you of being like, oh, I wish this was louder. But now that you say that, it was missing that. But I do find the Adobe Atmos sound system too loud in a lot of cases.
Yeah, so
Like
What?
I'm like that old lady who will cover her ears during the loud parts because it's just too loud.
So, that I have problems with trusting structural integrity of things that are obviously very structurally sound.
That's right.
So I don't like when I can feel shaking from sound. It really scares me. I think the theater's going to collapse. So I actually liked that it wasn't too loud.
Yeah, I was
Even though
content
that's
with
like, especially because I'm like a student of sound and how sound works, and that's got nothing to do with...
Mom even was making fun of me the other day. She was reminding me of when they moved me into college and we put like 3 totes of things in the van and the whole drive to Kitchener. I was like, I think the van's overloaded. I think we've got too much weight in the van. Like, I don't know if this is good. Like, I just get very,
Have you ever seen someone about this? Because like, some therapist could make a lot of money off of you.
My therapist does make a lot of money off me.
Okay, so the other thing is the Ultra AVX projection. Any of the bright scenes, any of the scenes once we got to the village and all this stuff, they were very bright, they were nice, they were wonderful. The first little bit of the film, though, there were shots like when they're in the nightclub, like anything that was like in the dark or was like in his apartment or like when they were still in San Francisco, where I just felt like the projector's not very bright. Like the dark scenes aren't just dark, they're kind of dark and like washed out, and like it's just not a very like I feel like there's colors and lighting in this movie that I'm missing out on and can't appreciate, and it's because I'm not seeing this in Ultra AVX.
I think I did have a few moments where I felt like, especially near the end where the 2 beasts are fighting in the air and it gets a little dark and cloudy, I found I couldn't even really quite depict what was going on.
Yeah.
I was just seeing a lot of dark movement.
And I think this comes down to, I was saying to Tina when we went to go see the other one, I kept like talking up Dolby Atmos to her, and I was like trying to explain it to her. And I said, it's not even like we've been, you and I, Brenna, you and I saw the first Suicide Squad movie in D-Box, the moving seats.
Right.
And that felt gimmicky. Mm-hmm. It felt.
I don't
like,
enjoy that.
It felt like an add-on. Like, enjoy it or not, it feels like an add-on. 3D feels like an add-on. The theaters with the leather reclining seats feel like an add-on. It feels like an upgrade. But Ultra AVX and Dolby Atmos, they to me don't feel like add-ons. They just feel like the proper experience. And it makes me going and seeing a movie without those feel like, it's not like, oh, this is a movie without the Dolby Atmos sound upgrade. It feels like, oh, this is a movie with shitty movie theater speakers. Like, this is like a movie with
I feel like I'm an Owen Sound.
Have they intentionally like a smaller movie theater?
Yeah.
Like, have they intentionally turned this down so that next time I think to myself, yeah, see, that's what I get for not spending the extra money and getting the Atmos,
maybe you're onto something.
I don't know, but anyways, I think it's so. Brianne, movies, TV shows, whatever. In the last 7 or so days, what have you been watching?
Not much. I have not watched any movies. I've been watching this new show.
That's not true.
What have we watched? Right. Sorry. We watched Cruella.
Yeah, the
other
Emma
night.
Stone Cruella.
I have not seen that yet.
So, do you want me to discuss that?
Yeah, just
Okay,
quickly, what
brief.
did you think of it?
I was really excited about it. It did not meet my expectations in a lot of ways. I think all the dogs in it are CGI and not very well, I would say. So I don't know, I found them like just really...
I think a lot of the times Wink is an actual dog.
Sometimes, but a lot of it, they are CGI, and it's very distracting.
It uses a combination.
Yeah, it's very distracting, and it was... I don't know. It just like... I think the best part about it is Emma Stone's performance, like hands down. So that it was still good. It was a fun movie. It had a lot of I don't know. Anyway, it was good overall, but just different than what I was expecting, I think. And then I think that's the only movie I've watched. And then I have been watching the show called Manifest on Netflix.
I've seen that advertised.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It is good. It's basically about a plane that disappears for 5.5 years and then comes back.
Oh, someone told me about this.
So for the passengers on the plane, the trip was instantaneous. So so it's like
they don't
it
know
was
anything
a 3-hour
happened.
flight for them. So for them, it's been 3 hours, and they land, and then they find out actually it's been 5.5 years later. So it's interesting.
Been there.
Yeah.
Hate when that happens.
So it's interesting and like, but then anyway, it has some like Lost vibes to it.
I haven't seen that either.
Okay. But
You're
so
missing
it's
anything.
like,
Okay.
so it's just kind of like, it's got the mystery and just kind of like, okay, what's going on? Why are certain things happening? So it's good, but it also could get bad really fast. So not sure yet. We'll see. So yeah.
Cool.
That's it for me.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all I've been watching.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't watched like the first episode of a new series? Like last night or something?
What did we watch last night?
She was asleep.
Yeah. We
Oh
watched
yeah, Mandalorian.
we watched the first. You haven't seen
Right.
Mandalorian. So
Yes.
we watched the first episode of Mandalorian.
It didn't interest me, but
Even after
I'm-
you mean you like even watching the first episode, you're like, eh.
yeah, but I mean, it's also just the first episode, and generally speaking, it takes several episodes of a show, in most cases, for me to be into it. So
That's fair.
we'll see.
Brenna,
So
what'd you watch this week?
Well, like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I've been watching Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore.
Rewatching it.
I've never seen an episode.
No point in you watching it.
Okay.
No,
It's-
I don't think you would enjoy it.
No.
All right.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
start it tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
Text me. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, me too.
And then movies. In the last 7 days, I have watched Ladder 49.
And how many times would that be?
Only once.
No, in total.
But in total, I have no clue.
There's
at
no
all.
there's no running tally.
Yeah, I'm scared soon my computer's just gonna be like, no more. You've been cut off.
If you had to, because I know you do, I know this is like often just on. If you had to wager a guess, like ballpark, like round to the nearest 10, how many times have you pressed play on the movie Walk the Line?
Probably between 20 and 30.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking we'd be like
Hundreds.
70 or something.
No,
No. Okay. Cool.
because it's a longer movie, so you have to have some commitment.
It is. Yeah. Well, yeah.
It can also be one of those movies that you just have in
30
the background.
is still
No,
a
no.
lot.
No.
I must focus and sing every song, feel
Okay.
every emotion.
Yeah, you need to. If you're gonna get rhythm, you gotta get rhythm.
Yeah.
30 is still a lot.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
still more than once a year. Your
Oh
entire
yeah,
life.
there was a little while there where I was watching it like once a month.
That was okay. Oh yeah, but
Oh yeah.
oh for sure,
Don't underestimate me.
for sure. Cool. All right. So what I watched list is somewhat similar to Brienne's. I haven't been watching Manifest, but I watched Cruella. I watched The Mandalorian. And I have still been working through. I'm nearing the halfway point in my journey to rewatch Friends for like the umpteenth time.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
I
I'm
did
like
that.
on season 5.
I think I rewatched it in probably less than a month.
20 minutes flat.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
That's,
She was like,
so
we
good.
watched the reunion, and then she was like, okay, I
The
know what
next
my
day-
week's gonna
I
be.
actually haven't watched the reunion.
You need to.
What are you
Yeah.
doing after this?
It is
Sleeping.
It is quite magical.
Yeah?
I would have to
It'll
say.
make you cry.
But
Yeah.
where do I find it? Is it on Netflix?
It's on Crave.
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 It'll be worth getting it just for that.
That's
Yeah.
How many times can we say Crave? Does Crave want to sponsor us?
Yeah,
Crave?
Crave,
It's on
maybe?
Crave. It's on Crave. Well, thank you for listening. Because I have my YouTube thing, I'm like, I'm like, the thing that like pops into my head, I don't know how many times I've said, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Which, I mean, kind of, maybe.
Kind of.
Like
It
it, share it.
applies.
Share this around. There's like, I
Any
don't
of
know.
those things you can do them.
Yeah, down below there's like some social media links and shit. I don't
Yeah,
know. There's
interact.
some stuff there. Yeah, buy a shirt, buy a mug. We sell stuff. Buy a Patreon. Support us. Support us on Patreon. And speaking of my YouTube channel, there's also a link to that below if you want to see me play some farming games and
You want to.
game with a bunch of cannibalism and some detective games and Back to the Future and a little bit of Minecraft Dungeons and lots of stuff.
What don't you do?
Spend time with my friends and family. I'm either doing a podcast or YouTube or school or work. Dismal existence. Anyways, yeah, I'm totally jazzed on this movie, and it's got me like it's got me excited, rejuvenated for the MCU moving forward. We took a 2-year break. We got our shows and stuff, but like really it's been a while, right, from like our 3 to 4 movies a year release schedule of the MCU. And so things slowed down. We're getting back. We got 2 more this year. 2 more. The Eternals and then Spider-Man No Way Home. And then like at least 1 more Disney Plus series in the Hawkeye series, which was set up for us in the post-credit scene of Black Widow. When, spoiler for Black Widow, when Black Widow's sister, adopted sister, sort of, is standing at
her grave.
Natasha's grave, and the chick that we see kind of give U.S. agent John Walker,
Right.
the rejected Captain America, she's kind of like, so that's a thing
She
in the
comes into it,
MCU
yeah.
right now too. We're like, okay, who is she and what strings is she pulling and how is she going to factor into all of this? And like, there's just so much exciting stuff moving forward and more content in the MCU than we've ever had.
I'm so excited. I just can't.
Keep going.
That's all I know.
That's all you know. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Yeah.